Yes, this is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerated. I know words. Mike Pounds. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation. But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. Had the best words. God bless the United States.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times, where the water rushes out to sea because you could never handle it.
You idiot!
Nation, Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Got a show for you today. It's been a little bit of a rough day as far as getting everything ready and prepared, but we do have a show for you. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. We have Mike Pence being Mike Pence, meaning that, of course, being a coward. That's what it is. So I'm going to show you a couple of, I should say a video where Mike Pence shows supreme cowardice in the face of possibly indicting the former president. We're going to talk about that. It's an interesting story. We have Republicans that have been not just going after LGBTQ rights, but also elections, voting. I'm going to give you the details on that, according to a new report. We have one of the religious groups that pushed the massively hateful Kill the Gays bill in Uganda, feeling a little bit embarrassed. Oops. Did we push this country to adopt an incredibly hateful law? And then we won? Oh, crap. That's going to make us look very bad. Oh, does Bigot have a sad? We're going to talk about that. Then we have the cloud, the doom cloud. From the Canadian doom cloud. Okay, anyway. No, it's a very serious issue. And I'm going to show you videos of right-wingers mocking it. So, great. Wonderful. And then, of course, we have a racist cop. So, in this case, just a police officer. Ouch. Damn, dude. Even that surprised me. Okay, anyway. So, first, before I get into the stories, I did not have time to write out my lower thirds. It's one of those... is literally one of those days. So I'm going to need a minute here. So, then we're going to get started with these stories here. Yeah, it's a case of the Thursdays. It's true. We're absolutely doing it live, folks.
We'll do it live!
This is what having a meeting today and getting up late and all that stuff does to me. Not good. Not good. So. Let's see.
Up.
Oop.
Fired! Fired!
You're fired.
Yep. Yeah, I gotta get rid of that producer. Oh right, there's no producer. It's just me. If I fire myself, there's no show. Okay. Anyway, so let's do it. Let's dive in, and yeah, I know. Still one day to go in this week, right? Oof. All right. So let's do it. Let's start out with Mike Pence being an absolute and utter coward. Fun. Former Vice President Mike Pence gave a pretty unsatisfactory answer during a recent CNN town hall when he was asked about the impending or coming indictment of former President Donald Trump. Let's take a look at that.
You were cleared last week in your own documents case. What's your reaction to the news about your former boss?
Well, let me say the handling of classified materials is a very serious matter. I don't know the facts of the president's case. I don't know the facts of the former president's case. But what we've got to have in this country is equal treatment under the law.
Sir, I
We've got to
understand.
end
I
this
understand you're
two-tiered
talking
system
about
of justice.
equal treatment, but the question is allegation that an investigation into obstruction, which you clearly did not do, if that is something that investigators see as possible, and even enough potentially to indict the former president, do you think that that should go forward?
Well, I would hope not. I really would, Dana. I think it would be terribly divisive to the country. I think now more than ever, we ought to be finding ways we could actually come
And
together.
Sir, we're going to get
and
to
this
all
kind of this kind of action by the Department of Justice, I think, would only fuel further division in the country. And let me also say, I think it would also send a terrible message to the wider world. Indicting a former president of the United States sends a terrible message to the world. I hope the DOJ thinks better of it and resolves these issues without an indictment.
Sir, I just want to clarify. What you're saying is that if they believe he committed a crime, they should not go forward with an indictment? You just talked before about committing to the rule of law.
Let me be clear that no one's above the law.
Okay.
But with regard to the unique circumstances here, but I would just hope that there would be a way for them to move forward without the dramatic and drastic and divisive step of indicting a former president of the United States. We've got to find a way to move our country forward.
Okay. I mean, that was painful. Oh, and that's just, again, me cutting it down. Painful. It hurt to watch.
Mike Pounds.
Okay. I mean, just the answer of, I believe that no one is above the law, and we have to have an equal application of justice, which is why Donald Trump, if he broke the law, we should just completely let him go. Wait, what? Oh yeah, no. I believe in the equal treatment under the law. We can't just have a two-tier justice system, unless it's the guy who tried to get me killed on January 6th. None of that makes any sense. What? It's so divisive. It would send a negative, just like a, a message to the world. That's what would happen. It would send a bad message to the rest of the what? That we actually would hold a criminal accountable? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? It looks like he's trying to have it both ways. It seems like typical Mike Pence cowardice. So now he's the reason that he had a town hall is because he's jumping into the presidential race. He's going to get eaten alive. That's what's going to happen. He's going to get eaten alive. And now the answer is pretty easy. You follow the law. Okay? If it is found that Donald Trump did obstruct justice, okay, in keeping these and taking these classified documents, keeping them and failing to return them, and refusing to return them, then you would hold him accountable for it. As simple as that. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's, divisive. Well, guess what? Taking the position of not following the law, also pretty divisive, you would think. But I understand what he's trying to do, okay? He's trying to have his cake and eat it too, and it's not going to work. Here's the thing. MAGA is never going to like him. They're not. The Never Trump people, they also are never going to like him, okay? The left hates him, obviously. And who's left? Who does he think he's going to win over? Oh, I'm gonna go for the moderates, except that I'm actually not gonna go to the moderates because when you look at my record, I'm actually kind of extreme. With that whole Indiana abortion ban stuff. So now look, to back me up, I've got some polling. So now Mike Pence was the vice president. Doesn't really have a lot of power, but it's a good stepping stone to running to become president. So look, for example, President Biden was Obama's VP. I'm not saying that every VP, when they run for president, is going to win. That's not historically accurate. But they do often win the party's nomination. So, for example, you had Nixon, Hubert Humphrey, Walter Mondale, George H.W. Bush, and Al Gore all winning their nominations after serving as VP. So, generally, it's seen that if you're the vice president, then you're going to, be a shoo-in, not always, but again, mostly, for becoming the party's nominee. That is not going to happen here. Mike Pence is polling just above 5% in the 538's average of national Republican primary surveys. I know it's early in the primary. There's a lot of different people that are in this race, but I do not think Mike Pence is going to get past the first couple of states. I would be very, very surprised. And look, he is polling just about the worst out of any vice president at this point in the election cycle. Dan Quayle did better. Does anybody remember Dan Quayle? Maybe some of you, but most people are like, who? Exactly. Didn't do very well. I do believe that Mike Pence is going to get blown out hard. Serving as Donald Trump's VP, and then, certifying the election, pissed off the right. Okay. And of course, pissing off everyone else, being the OG anti-choice extremist, which has not been doing very well for Republican polling as well. So he's got absolutely no chance. None at all. Now, the final irony here is, you think all these people, these Republicans that jumped into the race, you got Chris Christie, you've got, I can't even remember all of them, Nikki Haley, all these different people, Tim Scott jumping in, Mike Pence. I mean, the field is very, very large now and getting larger. Ron DeSantis, all these people, if they lose to Donald Trump, they're going to bend the knee. They're going to support Donald Trump 100%. That includes Mike Pence, who, once again, on January 6th, Trump was like, are my supporters calling to hang Mike Pence? Oh, I guess he deserved it. Well, I mean, there you go. I mean, you know, if you're gonna back somebody like that, shows who you are, and you're a coward. Mike Pence, absolutely a coward. Okay. I'm sure Pence would be thankful for your vote. For who? Let's see. Mike Pence polling at 6%. I think it was like, what, 5.8%? Somewhere around there. Not doing well. Not doing well. Our state of democracy is already bad if America supports a criminally indicted man. Yeah. Unfortunate. Is what it is. All right. Republicans in a majority of states, 38 of them, have introduced bills that would allow them to subvert local elections and national elections. This is according to a report by 3 nonpartisan groups that are tracking these pieces of legislation. The analysis by the state's United Democracy Center, Protect Democracy, and Law Forward found that Republicans have put forward a total of 185 bills in their state legislative sessions from January 1st through May 3rd that would increase risk of subversion by politicizing, criminalizing, or interfering with elections. So first, what do they mean by subversion? Okay. Well, they go into specifics. The analysis defined election subversion as a result of any bill that proposed one of 5 actions: usurping control over election results, requiring partisan or unprofessional election audits or reviews of results, seizing power over election responsibilities, creating unworkable burdens in election administration, or imposing disproportionate criminal or other penalties. So I think that's fairly clear. The authors of this analysis wrote that many of the bills introduced by, again, mainly Republicans, are designed to inject confusion and delays into the election process, which increases the likelihood of attempted subversion and can give the rise to disinformation, further erode public trust and confidence in election results. So if you thought it was bad in 2020, if a lot of these pass, and some of them have, well, then it's only going to get worse. Look, we already have about half the Republican Party thinking that the election was illegitimate. And now we have right-wing lawmakers writing laws to actually make them illegitimate. Yikes. Now, the report said that such scenarios resulting from many of the proposed laws are the most dangerous in close elections because partisan actors would be able to use them to exploit confusion over results, to claim that the true will of the voters cannot be determined, and to engineer the outcome of their choice. For example, Republican legislators in Texas proposed a bill, HB 5082, that would give state officials the authority to order new elections in counties, very specific counties, by the way, whose populations exceed 1 million people, and if there is good cause to conclude that 2% of polling places had run out of ballots and did not receive replacements. Now, that is a very specific set of circumstances in very specific places. And again, if that happens, it would allow Republicans, essentially, because that's who run Texas, to take over and just, declare that election null and void, redo it. Oh, interesting. Well then, now one of the biggest, counties impacted by this potentially would be Harris County. Harris County includes Houston. Houston is a pretty big Democrat stronghold. Now, look, not to get conspiratorial myself, all right? Because there are legitimate times, legitimate issues where you might not have enough ballots and would have to order more. And, again, that happens in times where there's unexpectedly high turnout in elections. And so, yeah, that's a legitimate issue. Having to redo an election as a result of that issue seems a little suspicious. Okay. And the other issue, again, to go into the conspiracy part of it, is, did we forget to order enough ballots? Oh, shoot. Oh, darn, I guess we're just going to have to redo this county, even though it went for a Democrat. Oops. I'm not saying that that's happening. I'm just saying that the possibility of abuse through these very specific sets of circumstances where you have election deniers that are being elected to positions of power, it could happen. Not good. Not good at all. So now in Arizona, Republicans also introduced a bill, HB 2078, that would, if enacted, allow candidates, political party county chairs, and certain ballot measure state committees to request post-election investigations. That, under the law, would result in audits by the Secretary of State that could be overseen by election deniers or conspiracy theorists or whomever, right? Now, the GOP-sponsored bills in Arizona, South Carolina, and Virginia had also proposed banning the use of electronic tabulation machines. So I guess they're taking their cues from, Mike Lindell, Mike Pillow, and instituting head counts. So you might think, well, what's the issue with that? Well, the issue with that is that it takes a long time, far longer for results to come in, obviously, and is also more prone to error. You could easily miss somebody when you're trying to count one by one. I mean, the error rate is actually higher than if you were to use these machines, which again also can have errors. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis also signed a law which expanded the powers of statewide prosecutors to go after the election, so-called election fraud, by using election police. So, now we have more of a police state in Florida. And of course, people they went after, primarily Democrats, while ignoring actual sexual offenders who did vote in right-wing areas. They refused to prosecute those people, but tried to prosecute 20 others who, again, also sex offenders, but in Democratic counties, sex offenders, people who had been convicted of murder, etc., went after those for voting, even though the state had told all of them that they were eligible to vote. So they voted. And of course, people that voted in the Democratic counties ended up getting arrested. And of course, a lot of them got their cases dismissed, at least temporarily. And members in Republican red counties, places that, like the Villages, for example. Oh, no, we don't need to look into them. Oh, they didn't willfully break the law. No problem there. No problem there. Oh, no, okay. Sure. We see what's going on here. Now, according to Maya Ingram, Senior Policy Development Counsel at the United States Democracy Center, told NBC News of these, laws, quote, legislators are trying to make it harder for trusted election officials to do their jobs. By the way, many of the election officials are also Republicans. And a lot of these, again, Republicans who, for example, verified the 2020 elections, they did their jobs. They did their jobs with the way that they were supposed to do it. They verified the results. They said, well, obviously, we trust these results. We counted them ourselves. And there were no issues here. In a lot of these places, there were no issues. There was no massive amounts of voter fraud. We couldn't find any evidence of this. But it doesn't matter. You have now a handful of conspiracy theorists who do get elected into positions of power that are now going against a lot of their own poll workers, their own election workers, in order to, I guess, prop up this fantasy that there is mass amounts of voter fraud that is going on all across the country, and that somehow it's Republicans that want Democrats to win, so they completely ignore it. It doesn't make any sense. But it doesn't have to.
Just forget about the evidence.
And that's what unfortunately a lot of them are doing. Just ignoring it. Now, let me get to the rest of this quote here. Quote, "It makes it easier for partisan politicians to overturn the will of the voters. While many may think that this threat abated after the midterms, it most certainly did not. In fact, legislators are coming up with new ways to interfere with elections." That's, by the way, a charge that Donald Trump continues to make. Oh, you're interfering with my election, with our elections, in so many different ways, lots of different ways, more ways than I could ever imagine. No, this is the interference. This is what they're doing, putting partisan people again in charge of these elections that are again open conspiracy theorists. These laws, according to the report, are all but certain to affect voting behavior and how elections are administered in the states and others where laws have been enacted. Ingram added, "The decisions that states make today will determine how elections are run in 2024. Even when these bills don't become law, they keep lies and conspiracy theories alive and sustain the election denier movement." Now, look, if you're on that side, I mean, again, you're part of a movement that appears to be openly hostile to democracy. Oh no, we got to save it by burning it down. Wait. The man leading in the polls in the Republican primary right now tried to overturn the 2020 election using, again, interference, fake electors from states. And using the specter of voter fraud. That, again, it hasn't been proven to exist. And that's what's going on here. So, and you have these attempts to codify more control over these elections by those very people who, again, deny these elections based on these conspiracy theories. Nothing good can come from this. And unfortunately, that's kind of the point. Okay. A Christian fundamentalist group is now concerned about their image following Uganda's anti-LGBTQ crackdown that they helped push. So now, Semaphore reported on Thursday that groups, including the U.S.-based one, which is Family Watch International, are now concerned. They're concerned about the law that was passed in Uganda that they helped push. Now, they're concerned because of the harshness of the law. They say it could backfire on them and their efforts to push anti-LGBTQ laws elsewhere. So, I mean, what this is obviously, I mean, these people are, they already should have a terrible image because of the stuff that they believe, the stuff that they pushed. But now they're trying to say, "Oh no, well, it wasn't us. We didn't want them to actually kill the gays. Oh no." So before I get to that, though, the report said that the groups had initially pushed the government to pass this anti-LGBTQ law, but had backed off when the death penalty provision was added into it. So Family Watch International, as I said, was the American evangelical lobbying group that had pressed Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni to pass the law. However, they said that when the death penalty was added, there was a concern that it would hurt their image. Oh, really? In April, the group's leader, Sharon Slater, met with the president and said, well, why don't we soften the penalties? Why not, instead of, killing them, just imprison them? Now, the Ugandan law, which was passed last month, allows the death penalty for something called aggravated homosexuality. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? What is, like, can anybody give me an example of aggravated heterosexuality? What is it? What is that? I don't know. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Now, anyone under this law caught promoting homosexuality could be sentenced to 20 years in prison, and anyone convicted of attempted aggravated homosexuality can be sentenced to 14 years in prison. So, I mean, this is horrifying. Semaphore described this as some of the most severe penalties in the world for being gay, essentially. Now, this group comes out after pushing the Ugandan government to, again, this was called the Kill the Gays bill, okay? Or Kill the Gays law, because that's essentially what it does. And I said, well, we didn't actually mean kill them, even though we did. This group comes out after it gets passed and says, oh no, we didn't actually mean that. We did, but we actually didn't, because now, what about our image?
Oh no!
Too late. Your image has and should continue to always be people who are immoral, the most immoral people in the world. The people that say, "Oh, well, you're gay? Oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess we're gonna murder you then." Now, FWI director Lynn Allred told Semaphore, and I'm just gonna give you a quote here. Here's what she said.
Disappointed!
No, seriously, they're disappointed. About what? She said, "We believe that there are individuals who will not be able to obtain help to align their sexual behavior with their personal values." Again, what does that mean? Oh, no, you shouldn't kill them. No. We need to fix them. That's it. Fix them. No, you can't fix that. Because it's not broken. All right? Gay people are not broken. They do not need to be helped. They do not need to be fixed. They do not need to be cured. You know what they need to do? They need to be able to live their lives without being harassed, without being attacked, without being, subject to, ridicule. They just need to be left alone to do whatever they want. That's it. Just like anybody else. Leave them alone. Let them live their lives. Let them love whoever they want to love. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt us. It doesn't harm anyone else. It doesn't. Look, here's the thing. I cannot stand bigots that refuse to leave people alone. Look, all my life, I've heard, ridiculous people saying ridiculous things like, the gays, they're shoving their gayness down our throats. How? By literally existing? I also hear weird things now in the trans discussion, right? Oh, I support, I don't mind trans people, it's just, they're shoving it down our throats. What's an example of shoving it down your throat? Again, when they literally just exist in public. That's all they're doing. Now, what do you think laws like this are? What do you think they do? They are using state power to criminalize someone else's existence. That is shoving it down everyone's throats. That's what that is. You were shoving your beliefs down everyone else's. LGBTQ people literally existing in public is not remotely near what these people are doing. That's what's going on, okay? This group, I don't care if their image looks bad, because they are bad. They got what they asked for. I mean, what are you upset about? What are you upset about? No, it's always about them, right? It's always, oh no, we look bad because we were involved in this. Yeah, you shouldn't look bad. You're a hate group. You deserve all the smoke that you're getting. You're pushing hateful laws. You're being bigots. And again, you're criminalizing people just for being who they are. Yeah, of course you deserve to have that smoke. You're being a bigot right now on live simply because you didn't mention any of the other countries that share the same beliefs, that have the same exact laws. What the fuck are you talking about? You're a dumb person. I condemn all of that. You're a dumb, disingenuous piece of shit. Fuck off. Worst kind of people right here. Worst kind of people. Some nice whataboutism, though. Many countries have a death penalty, and they're all wrong. And they're all wrong. Oh, you mean Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia has a similar law. And guess what? Fuck Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it's a weirdo commenter. Oh, you're not mentioning other countries and their laws. Every country that has that law, that has similar laws, they need to get rid of them. Because they're being, again, hateful and bigoted. This is weird. Like, you're a weirdo person. There's always a nut that randomly appears in all streams. Yeah, I know, it's weird. I think it's just like, don't pick on my country. I'll pick on every country. The United States has the death penalty. What's their point? Yeah, and it's also wrong. What's the fiction here? That what's the fiction? I'm kind of curious now. Like what's the deal? What about that is wrong? I don't know. It seems like it's just a lot of whataboutism and deflection because you don't like being called out. Yeah, it's on Facebook. Fictional part is when you try to make it about this one country. I'm doing a story about this particular country because it just recently passed this law. No, of course it's Facebook. I get, look, there are a lot of wonderful people on Facebook, wonderful viewers, and then you get weirdos. All right, let's move on. I spent too much time on this. I have other stories to get to. A cloud of smoke has descended on much of the northeastern United States, causing some air quality warnings. But the right wing thinks, no big deal. It's fine.
I'll tell you, it actually smells like wood smoke. It's not an unpleasant odor, to be honest. It's kind of weird when it seeps into the building, but outdoors, I can deal with it. It actually is pretty. It's a beautiful, interesting aura the city has right now.
A beautiful aura. I'm gonna tell you, it's like a wood stove. It's totally fine. In fact, you know what? I breathe in the wood smoke all the time. I'm just gonna go huff my gas stove now. I mean, you know, I do that, and occasionally, sometimes turn my car on in the garage with the door shut. Oh, you libs, you're so weak. I mean, yes, obviously, I'm being facetious right there. But come on, really? No, this is a serious issue. So this cloud, according to the Washington Post, dozens of East Coast counties recently issued health warnings as these air quality measures had hit their worst marks in years or even decades. That prompts, of course, many elderly Americans and school children to have to shelter inside. In fact, in some places in New York City, the air quality index score hit 484. That's really high. That means it's hazardous to go outside and breathe, okay, without some sort of face covering. Health officials stress that wildfire smoke should not be inhaled by anyone and could lead to short and long-term complications, especially for vulnerable groups such as people with lung disease, diabetes, or Alzheimer's, or who are pregnant. Now, the source of this smoke is wildfires happening in Canada right now. Look, that has so far forced 100,000 people from their homes and have burned more land this year in Nova Scotia, for example, than in the last 10 years combined. So these wildfires are out of control. Very, very serious. It's pretty bad. In fact, Canadian officials said this week that the country is on track to experience the worst wildfire season in its recorded history if things continue as they are. Now, the source again is of the wildfires, according to climate experts, is the fact that we've had increasingly dry conditions. Now, we've had dry conditions, we've had wildfires happen, and there's wildfire season. The thing about it that ties it to climate change is that because of climate change, these dry conditions in areas that, yes, do experience dry conditions and wildfires, these dry seasons are getting longer. And so you have more wildfires, more chances for wildfires to happen. And these wildfires are having a much larger, more devastating effect. Now, health experts are warning people in these affected areas, hey, take some safety measures. If you don't have to, don't go outside. I know not a lot of people have that choice. And if you do, wear a mask. Not just your normal everyday mask, but it has to be something that helps filter out particulates. Now, that said, this has got the right wing. Their hair is on fire over this because now, oh my God, stay at home? Wear a mask. Here's some examples.
The White House is trying to exploit this, saying it's all because of global warming and the normal talking points that go with that.
Half the country can't go outside or breathe fresh air because our stupid neighbors up north, and the president hasn't said a single word about it. Because we don't have a real president, other politicians went on TV and told us to quarantine like the good old days.
And while Americans choke on the smoke, the far left smells an opportunity. AOC thinks this is a great time to push her Green New Deal. Other Democrats are pumping up climate hysteria and bringing back, you guessed it, mask insanity.
A lot of people are just having PTSD from seeing so many people wearing masks again.
By the way, what were those two young, healthy people doing with a mask
Double
on?
masking, by the way. They were double masked
Double
up.
masked. COVID, stay home, wear a mask. Smoke bombs, stay home, wear a mask. Election, stay home, wear a mask. Nuke strike, stay home, wear a mask.
Wow. All right. Stupid. Climate change. It's all just climate change hysteria. Masks, quarantine. Oh, no. Don't do any of that. Oh, no. Do what that guy, the Newsmax host, Greg Kelly did. You just oh man, it's a nice woody aroma. A little weird when it seeps into the building, but it's all right. I go out and no problem. Just come in, take a deep breath. That nice smoky air. Not only are we somehow back to the we hate masks discourse, but they throw in climate change, because we do mention, by the way, that, hey, more carbon in the atmosphere, drier, longer, drier seasons, more chances for wildfires, all that stuff. Kind of an issue that you might want to do something about. Okay. No, things have gotten dumber. Somehow they've gotten stupider. I mean, how close are people on the right, these commentators going out into saying, you should just go out and just, breathe that cloud. Stick it to the libs by breathing that air. Don't, please don't. It's really dumb. Take care of yourselves, okay? Be okay. All right? Speaking of stupid, why do you think firefighters wear masks? Maybe so they don't breathe in particulate matter from forest fires? I mean, again, N95s, they can filter out that stuff that causes inflammation of the lungs. That particulate matter, again, when you breathe it, causes inflammation. Can also, when you breathe it in, go into your bloodstream and can inflame the heart, even possibly lead to the hardening of arteries. So that's why you should actually, if you're going to go out there, do wear a mask that filters that. Not just, your average like bandana or anything like that, or a surgical mask. No, N95. If you're in one of these heavily affected areas. Don't be an idiot. Just do the smart thing for your own health. No, I find it amusing that after the pandemic, you do have right-wing pundits telling their mostly elderly audience, the ones who are most, affected by this or would be most affected by this, and just go ahead and breathe in that smoke cloud. It's fine. And no doubt you're probably going to have a number of people that are going to do it. And they're probably going to have some sort of inflammation issues, and it could lead to, again, bad health outcomes later on in life. I mean, you could say that they've learned nothing, and that's not entirely true, though, because it turns out, no, they've actually learned the opposite. When, experts advise you, hey, maybe it'd be smart to do this, they'll decide, no, we're just going to do the opposite of what the experts say. Well, okay, well, good luck with that. Why do they do that? Are they contrarians just for the sake of it? Yeah. It's just this hatred for any sort of, I don't know, institution. Just 2 days after being sworn in, a Marion police officer was fired after some pretty disastrous social media posts were found and reported. Now, according to the Indy Star, who found these posts, Officer Chasfoy was let go just 2 days after being hired by the Marion Police Department over some posts, some racist posts. One earlier from this month was posted to Facebook with the caption reading, with gas hitting 489 and climbing, let's all take a moment to appreciate the better times. Now, you might think, oh, what's wrong with that? There's nothing racist in that. Well, except that the picture the post went along with the picture, and again, that was the caption that I read to you. The picture was of Derek Chauvin with his knee on the neck of George Floyd. So that's the better days that he's referring to. Yeah, those better days where we could, kill people, black people. Oh, yeah, well, it's not clear enough. In another post from April of 2021, Foy posted a caricature of a black man just titled Martin Luther King. Luther King. So, there it is. Those posts, a bit racist. Yeah. Now, Marion Chief of Police Angela Haley personally reviewed these posts after the Indy Star had reported them and said that they were, quote unquote, racist, and said that they were not keeping with the standards of their department. Really? Is it? Quote, I do not condone this type of behavior and will not tolerate it, Haley said in a news release. Foy, who had been sworn for duty as a Marion Police Department officer on Monday, was terminated on Wednesday. Well, okay, so why was he hired in the first place? Look, did they not check his socials? Of course they do. Look, according to surveys, like, for example, one conducted by the Harris Poll, 70% of employers who responded to the survey said that every company should screen candidates' social media profiles during the hiring process. Okay? 78% of employers believe that current employees should maintain a work-appropriate social media profile. Okay? Now, Matt Earhart, managing partner of Summit Search Group, said, quote, the three main platforms most employers check are LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Ooh, boy. According to a Career Builder study, 70% of employers check socials before they hire somebody. Some of the most common items that employers find when conducting a social media scan of employees and job seekers include suggestive and salacious videos and photos, criminal behavior, inappropriate language and content, illicit alcohol or drug use, either in photos / videos or mentions, deceitful and incorrect job qualifications, deficient communication skills. Oh, yeah, Facebook. Yeah. I see a lot of that on Facebook and Twitter, by the way, to be fair. Accusatory and defamatory posts about a previous employer or coworker. Those are the things they often find. So now look, I'm not defending this practice. I actually am uncomfortable with employers checking your socials in a lot of cases, especially like suggestive or salacious videos or photos. It could be somebody wearing a bathing suit. I mean, we've seen that, we've seen that happen. Instances where, oh, you were looking a little bit too sexy on your Facebook feed, wearing that bathing suit. I guess we're just gonna have to fire you. What? No. Or by the way, illicit alcohol or drug use. So that's also been abused, in my opinion. Where you have like, for example, a photo where you're at a party and you're holding a red Solo cup. See, alcohol use, you're going to have to be fired. You can't work here because obviously you have a problem with posting this stuff on your social media. No. So look, again, I'm not defending this practice. I've been pretty critical of this practice. That said, there are instances where it seems like it would be appropriate to check some of your social for certain types of behavior, like racism. Okay. And by the way, you choose to post knowing that it's going to be public. And so you know that people are going to find it. So now if you're a police officer, you want to be a police officer, what makes you think that it'd be a good idea to post things that are extremely racist on a public forum? There are ways to sit there and go and hide your Facebook profile so that it doesn't get, seen in these social media scans, right? And so I guess you could do that and be as racist as you want. He didn't do that. He just posted it publicly posted his racism for everyone to see. Now, that said, there are situations where other people can and will tag you, and not when it comes to the racist stuff, but when it comes to maybe like a beach photo or whatever, you were at a party, whatever, things like that. Okay, that's my issue, right? But again, this is racist stuff. And the cop says, basically, oh, I'm just going to post the most racist garbage in my feed because that's what I believe. That's who I am. Well, I mean, I guess if you're going to go in that direction, be prepared for some consequences. And the reason that I bring this up, though, is why did it take a news organization to find it and bring it to their attention? I just read you that, 70%, most employers will check your socials. Okay. They must have not in this case in Marion County. And I do think that since police have a badge and a gun and, a lot of responsibility, then they should be subject to a little bit more scrutiny than, say, someone who wants to get a job working at McDonald's or at your local bank. And again, it can vary the type of scrutiny. If you're talking about like, oh, I can't wait to do a bank heist, or, I love stealing. I love stealing. Well, then, yeah, that would be appropriate for the bank to not hire you if you're posting that publicly on your Facebook. But again, when it comes to police officers, a lot more scrutiny, okay, into the stuff that they post. Because if you're a cop that's posting racist stuff, that does not reflect well on you, obviously, your community, and how you're going to approach the job. And that's really the biggest issue. Okay. So for those of you who might be wondering, like, oh, that's just his opinion, man. Why you got to cancel him? Why do you got to do the cancel culture? Well, I think in this case it's appropriate because I don't believe that racists should be cops. A minority is not going to be treated fairly by a racist officer. Okay? And now, and again, there's implicit bias when it comes to racism. There's explicit bias. And it's pretty clear from his posts, he has an explicit bias against black people. He praised a criminal murderer, Derek Chauvin, convicted criminal murderer. So, I mean, I don't think people like that, and I don't think this should be controversial, but I just don't believe people like that should be anywhere near a badge and a gun. Maybe they're just comfortable in their bigoted entitlement. Perhaps. Perhaps. I heard they're hiring an agency to help clean up social media of officers. Unbelievable. Yeah. Believable. Believable. Okay. Anyway, that's all I got today. Rake your forests, Canada. Jeez. I wish I had the clip of that. You gotta rake the forests. You gotta clean them, like the coal. You gotta clean the coal too, and the forests. And you won't have forest fires, and you'll have clean coal. If you're rich and powerful, you can get away with crimes and still have your job. Fair, true, and unfortunate. Okay. Anyway, yeah, tidy up them forests. All right. With that, again, thank you. Really appreciate you, watching the stream. Let me read some super chats here. Vitengale for a member for 20 months. L53 hype for solidarity. Thank you. Appreciate that. Gabby Mathis, thank you for the very kind 2 gifted memberships. Spin Me a Santa Claus says, ignore them. Speaking of the trolls, not worth the energy even acknowledging. There's only points to troll and make you waste your time. Small-minded, weak people. Yeah, well, I have a lot of time to waste. Actually, I don't, but oh well. All right. Let's see. But thank you. Appreciate that. And yeah, I should probably follow that advice. Okay. Let's go back to Twitch here. Thank you, God's favorite mathematician, for resubbing for a month to tier 1. Appreciate that. For 9 months, too. Nice. Nice. That cop will get a job in a different police department. Oh, probably. Oh, probably. Jeff probably needed to let off that steam. Sometimes it's just fun to put dumb people in their place, also. Feels good. All right. With that, let's, by the way, raid on Twitch here. Raid into James from the internet, who is on the internet. With that, everybody, thank you. I believe tomorrow we're going to have a quick segment. Ron Plagone's going to join us for a quick segment. We're going to talk about, of course, privacy rights. So that should be an interesting discussion. There's a lot of course, negative stuff out there as far as people's, personal privacy. I do touch on those topics. So, we'll have a good conversation tomorrow. And, of course, the rest of the show should be a lot of fun as well. All right, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you all. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you back here later.
We'll do it live!
Who's got a hammer?
There's insanity in the control room.
Oh, no! Obama.
Sexual anarchy.
Can't let that happen. Pink-haired communist.
They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.
Wind.